So welcome students. We'll continue with the unit number 1, last session of unit first, that is stresses and strains. First we'll revise all the theory part, then we'll switch to the numericals. We have seen types of materials, then strength, that is capacity of resistance, then stress, resistance per unit cross-sectional area, then stress sigma equal to R by A, which is equal to P by A, then strain, that is the ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension, then types of stresses, normal and tangential, difference between normal and tangential, that is shear stress, then tensile stress and strain, compressive stress and strain, longitudinal and hoop stress, that is circumferential stress, and last shear stress. Summary, then Hooke's law, Poisson's ratio along with lateral strain and linear strain. We have also seen volumetric strain, a 3D body, then stress strain curve for mild steel along with its properties, then some terminologies, modulus, single formula to find the change in dimension, that is delta L, sum of unit conversions, relationship between elastic constants. We have 3 relationships, then generalized Hooke's law, and last we have seen temperature, stress and strain. When the natural deformation is prevented, then and then there will be formation of temperature stresses. So temperature strain is given by alpha into T, temperature stress is given by alpha TE, and when some deformation is allowed, in that case temperature stress is given by alpha TL minus delta, whereas delta is your allowed deformation. Let's see another segment, that is around the world. Today for you we have 7 wonders of the modern world, and these 7 wonders are honored by American Society of Civil Engineers, that is ASCE. You might have seen some journals or some publications related to ASCE. So you must be knowing the Nobel Prize, which is having topmost ranking in the world. In India, it is Padma Shri, and similar to this, when it comes to civil engineering, the award or some publication or some honors are provided by ASCE. ASCE stands or has first ranking among all the civil engineers around the globe. So these 7 wonders of the modern world are as per the ASCE. So first one is Channel Tunnel, which is also called as Eurotunnel, and this tunnel is constructed between England and France for the railways, and this is the greatest civil engineering project of the 20th century. And just read the last line, it has an ultimate design capacity of 600 trains per day. Let us see some of the images. See, what is it actually? So we have the England, that is Great Britain on left hand side, and France on the right hand side, and in between we have a sea. And to join these two countries, the tunnel has been constructed as shown or marked with red color, which is below the sea level, that is below 100 meters. And through this tunnel, the rails are moving. Total distance, straight distance between these two terminals is 50.5 kilometers. You can observe some typical sections for the construction. The second, we have CN Tower, which is the highest tower. That is world tallest building used as a telecommunication hub. Next, we have Empire State Building, which is located in New York City. Fourth one, we have the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was the longest suspension bridge when it was completed in 1937. Then fifth one is the dam, which is in Brazil, Paraguay. You can just see and observe the catchment area which is behind the dam wall. Sixth one is the protection works, which we have already seen that day. You can observe the massive trusses, the massive structure which is made up of steel trusses, which obstructs the water or flow or waves coming from the sea towards the Netherlands. And last, we have the Panama Canal. It is the most important canal in whole world. So this was about our 7 wonders as per the ASCE. So let us move to a main content, that is few examples we'll be solving today. So first example, determine the force required to cut out a hole of 50 mm diameter through a 5 mm thick steel plate such that the ultimate shear strength in the plate is not to exceed 250 Newton per mm square. So what we need to find is, we need a force which is required to make a hole of 50 mm diameter. So let us see what we have. We have diameter D 50 mm, then thickness 5 mm, then shear stress 250 Newton per mm square. And what is the target? We need to find a force. So let us see. We know that shear means cut or crack. What they have asked to find a force which will create a hole, means which will cut the plate in circular shape. So cut means shear. So it is related to shear stress. Hence, to cut out a hole, we need a shear force. Thus, shear stress is nothing but shear force upon shear area. That is, stress is load upon area. When it comes to shear stress, it is shear force upon shear area. And therefore, what is shear area? The area which is being cut or which will be cut, and it is not the cross-sectional area. It is the area which we already calculated in previous example. That is the area along the perimeter which is being cut to make the hole. So for that case, we have shear area is along the perimeter, that is pi d into t, that is thickness. So pi diameter is 50 and thickness of plate is 5 mm, that is 785.39 millimeter square. So now we have the shear area. Now what we need is shear stress is load upon area, and tau is denoted, that is denomination of shear stress. So tau equal to P by A. So as it is provided in the data, tau is 250 MPa, that is Newton per mm square. So we don't need to convert it. So we get the shear force as 196.34 10 raised to 3 Newton, means 196.34 kilonewton. So this way you can find out the unknown force P of 196.34 kilonewton, which was required to create or make the hole in that plate. So let us see another example. A 50 square steel bar is subjected to an axial tensile load, means away from the body. Determine the decrease in the lateral dimension if E equal to 200 GPa and Poisson's ratio is 0.3. So if you remember, length means your longitudinal direction, and the height and width, these two dimensions are lateral directions or lateral dimensions. So what is the question? Determine the decrease in the lateral dimension. So let's see what we have. Lateral dimension of the square bar is 50 mm. Then cross section area 50 by 50. Then tensile force 250 kilonewton, and Young's modulus 200 GPa, that is 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square, and Poisson's ratio is 0.3. And what is the target? It is delta A. We are considering the size or side of cross section as small a, so we are denominating it is delta A. So now, how to proceed to find delta A? What is the target? We want change in dimension in lateral direction. So we know that delta A is present in lateral strain, because what is strain? Strain means change in dimension to the original dimension, and we are interested in lateral strain, means delta A corresponds to the lateral direction, and strain is nothing but change in dimension to the original dimension. So delta A is your change in lateral dimension and A is your original dimension, that is 50 mm. And to find the lateral strain, we need linear strain, because the lateral strain and linear strain are in relation with the Poisson's ratio, because mu, that is Poisson's ratio, is the ratio of lateral strain to the linear strain. So here we need to do the reverse engineering. So therefore, to find the linear strain, we need modulus of elasticity and strain, because we know modulus of elasticity, capital E, is the ratio of stress to the strain, and Young's modulus is the ratio in case of axial loading, and in this case it is axial loading. So in case of axial loading, the ratio of stress to the strain, and that is again linear strain, is your modulus of elasticity. So to find the linear strain, we need stress and modulus of elasticity, that is E equal to sigma upon epsilon or small e. So therefore, let's find the stress first. Stress is equal to P by A. P is 250 kilonewton and area is 2500. So sigma comes out to be 100 MPa, that is Newton per mm square. Now we need Young's modulus E. We already have it. Our target is small e, that is strain, that is linear strain. So based on this formula, strain is given by sigma upon Young's modulus. So it comes out to be 5 into 10 raised to minus 4, as strain is a unitless quantity. So it is 0.0005. Now we have stress, and thereby we have calculated the strain. What we need is, we need lateral strain because we have Poisson's ratio and just now we have calculated the linear strain. So what we get is lateral strain is mu into linear strain. So mu is 0.3 and lateral strain, sorry, linear strain 0.0005. So lateral strain is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 4. Now, what is the target? Our target is delta A, and that delta A corresponds to lateral strain. So let us see. So delta is equal to lateral strain into A, that A is your side. So 1.5 10 raised to minus 4 into side A comes out to be 0.0075 mm. So this is your final answer. Let us see another example. A cylindrical steel piece of 80 mm diameter and 120 mm length. Cylindrical piece of 80 mm diameter and 120 mm length is subjected to an axial compressive force, means towards the body, of 70 kilonewton. Find change in volume of the piece if bulk modulus is 1.7 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square and Poisson's ratio is 0.3. As the question is to find the change in volume, therefore we have the value of bulk modulus. So let us see the data. Diameter 80 mm, area pi by 4 d square, length 120 mm, force 70 kilonewton, compressive in nature, bulk modulus 1.7 10 raised to 5 and Poisson's ratio 0.3. What we need is change in volume of the piece. Now, how to find delta V? First, remember where the delta V is present. So, delta V is present in volumetric strain because volumetric strain is given by what is strain? Change in dimension to the original dimension. And volumetric strain EV, that is epsilon V or small ev, is equal to change in volume upon original volume. So to find the delta V, that is change in volume, we need volumetric strain. And of course, we have the cross-section diameter and its length, so we can calculate the volume. So this volumetric strain, now our target is volumetric strain. And this volumetric strain is to be calculated by using generalized Hooke's law as it is 3D body. Now here comes the complex thing. As it is 3D body, there is no normal Hooke's law, it is generalized Hooke's law. So let us see what is generalized Hooke's law. That is, we already seen the expression, if we are dealing with strain in x direction of 3D body, the strain in x direction Ex is given by or is equal to 1 upon E in bracket sigma x minus mu times sigma y plus sigma z. Means whenever we are considering the strain in x direction, the sigma x is plus and sigma in other two directions, that is y and z, was minus or is minus in terms of mu. So if you simplify it, as it is actually loaded, the sigma is same. So instead of sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, we have single sigma, and that is your epsilon v is 1 by E sigma minus mu times addition of those two sigma. That is nothing but your sigma upon E into 1 minus 2 mu. If you recall the expression, we have a relationship between E, G and K, that is 1 minus 2 mu. So this way we need to find the strain. So let us see. Epsilon V or EV, that is sigma upon Young's modulus 1 minus 2 mu. So let's find the stress first, because we have the value of E and Poisson's ratio, but we don't know sigma. So sigma equal to P by A. What is P? 70 kilonewton, 10 raised to 3, and area. We just now we calculated the area, that is 5026.54. So just tell me the answer, what you get, any one of you. What is the answer of sigma, or what is the value of sigma? How much it is?
13.92.
13.92 Newton per mm square means megapascal. It is correct answer. Now we have the value of sigma. Now use the relationship, because our target is E. As bulk modulus is given, based on that relationship, our target is your modulus of elasticity, capital E. Bulk modulus is given and we have the value of Poisson's ratio. So let us find Young's modulus. Check how much it is. Just tell me the answer. 3 times K, 1 minus 2 mu. Let us see how much it comes. 3K into 1 minus 2 mu. Anyone?
204.
204 10 raised to 3. Correct answer. That is 204 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square means 204 GPa. So we have strain, that is volumetric strain. We have sigma, we have E. So using the equation 1 minus 2 mu, let us solve. Just try to solve. What we get, epsilon V or volumetric strain comes out to be, check your answers. What do we have? How much it is?
27.29 into 10 raised to minus.
It's a 2.22 10 raised to minus 5. Therefore, now last target is change in volume, delta V. So equating it with the strain, there is volumetric strain. So delta V is nothing but your volumetric strain multiplied by total volume. So volumetric strain 2.72 10 raised to minus 5, and your volume area is 5026, and length of the object or specimen is 120. So we get delta V as 16.40 mm cube, as it is change in volume. So it is millimeter cube or cubic millimeters. So let us see another example. A square RCC column of size 300 by 300 mm in cross section is reinforced with 4 bars of 20 mm diameter. A concrete column of size 300 by 300 with 4 bars of 20 mm diameter. Determine the load carrying capacity of the column if allowable stresses means permissible stresses in concrete and steel are 7 MPa and 140 MPa. Means allowable, that is permissible stress in concrete is 7, and that of in steel as 140 MPa. Young's modulus for steel is 200 GPa and modular ratio is 13. So let us proceed. Column size 300 by 300. Sigma C, that is stress in concrete, 7 Newton per mm square. MPa means Newton per mm square. In steel it is 140. These are maximum values. Young's modulus of steel 200 GPa, that is 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square. Now modular ratio M, denoted by small m, is the ratio of ES by EC. Always keep in mind, modular ratio is the ratio of ES by EC. If there is another material instead of concrete, say it is copper, so the ratio will become ES by E copper. But always keep in mind that ES must be in the numerator. So in our case, it is ES by EC, that is 13. So area of total column is 90,000 mm square. In that, we have 4 bars of 20 mm diameter. So pi by 4 d square into 4 comes out to be 1256.64, and area of concrete is given by area of column minus area of steel bars. So 88743.36 mm square. Now what we need is, we need the load carrying capacity of the column. Let us see total load. As concrete is a mixture of, this RCC is a mixture of steel and concrete. Therefore, the total load P will be divided or will be carried by steel and concrete. Hence, total load P is equal to PS plus PC. And therefore, the load P is present in stress. You already know. So that is sigma equal to P by A. So for that case, find the stress. Because our target is P, we have the value of area. So now how to find the stress? Therefore, for that we have the strain. If stress is absent or stress is unknown, think about strain. As the column is made up of concrete, that is RCC column, so strain in concrete will be equal to strain in steel bars. This is the main concept behind this problem. So strain in concrete will be equal to strain in steel bar. That is strain ES equal to EC. Therefore, strain is nothing but your sigma upon E, that is stress upon Young's modulus. So between steel and concrete, as we don't have these two values, so sigma S is equal to ES by EC into sigma C, and we have the ratio of ES by EC, that is modular ratio. So sigma S, that is stress in steel, is equal to 13 times sigma C. Now what is sigma C? Sigma C they have provided. There is allowable stress, there is permissible stress, means maximum value of stress in concrete is 7 MPa. And as per the above relation, sigma in steel is 13 times sigma C. So we get it as 91 MPa, and they have already mentioned that it should not be more than 140 MPa. Hence 91 is the safest value. So let us see. So load carrying capacity is PS plus PC. So what we have is P, force, that is sigma equal to P by A. So P is your sigma into area. So sigma and area of steel plus sigma and area of concrete. So stress in steel is 91, area of steel, that is 4 bars of 20 mm diameter, then sigma in concrete 7, and area of concrete, which is area of column minus area of bars. So just tell me the answer, what you get as total load P.
7.3 into 10 raised to 5.
7.3, okay, 10 raised to 5. So it is 735.55 10 raised to 3 Newton.
735.55 into 10 raised to 3.
That's what I'm saying. 735.55 10 raised to 3 means 7.35 10 raised to 5. So your correct answer is 735.55 kilonewton.